It is a Saturday evening in late September, and you are standing around a fire pit at a buddy's place with a whole hog turning on a spit. He took that hog himself in Texas brush country, and he has been turning it since before sunup. The skin has gone the color of a penny, the fat is singing in the coals, and when he carves a sliver off the shoulder and holds it up, he says the words every hunter grew up on. No pink left. She's done, boys. And everybody nods because that is exactly what our dads told us and what their dads told them. But that one sentence has put more Americans in the hospital and in the ground than every bear attack of the last 100 years put together. The bear you ought to worry about was never the one in the woods. It is the one in your chest freezer. Today I will show you which wild meat can hurt you and which cannot, and the one $15 tool that makes every bit of it safe. And stay with me to the end because the freezer is where this myth digs in deepest. Your freezer will kill what hides in store-bought pork. It will not kill what hides in bear meat, and the reason comes down to one specific thing that critter learned to survive in the North Country. Once you hear it, you will never trust the freezer trick again. I'm Donna Larsen. I'm 52 years old. I live in the Northwoods of Wisconsin. And my dad Ray had me in a deer stand before I was 8. I have hunted 44 seasons, I run the same deer camp I grew up in, and I process every animal I take, start to finish the way Dad taught me. My freezer is full of venison and walleye every single year, and I am not one bit afraid of it. But there are packages in that freezer I treat different from the rest, and knowing which is what today is all about. Now, that rule about the pink came from somewhere real. Your grandmother cooked every pork chop gray as a dish rag, and she had good reason. Back in the 30s and 40s, this country had a worm problem. Trichinosis. A parasite that curls up inside muscle meat and waits. When doctors did autopsies in those years, they found it in about 1 American out of every 6. 1 out of 6, friend. It came from pork because of how hogs were raised back then. And it put people through weeks of fever and muscle pain, and in the bad cases, it stopped hearts. So the whole country learned one rule. Cook it until the pink is gone. Then the hog farms cleaned up, the laws changed, and store pork got so safe, the worm all but vanished from the grocery store. And everybody relaxed, but the worm never left. It just moved back to where it started, out in the wild. These days, when an American catches trichinosis, it almost never comes from the store. It comes off a hunter's grill. Bear meat sits at the top of that list, and wild hog is right behind it. The old pink rule was built for a grocery store problem, and it fails completely in the woods. And hold on to that thought about your freezer, because we are coming back to it before we are done, and I promise you it is not what you think. Now, the stuff I am teaching you today, the kind the old-timers knew and the gear ads skip right over, is exactly why I finally sat down and wrote a book. It is called Donna's Whitetail Bible, 101 Field-Tested Tricks to Stop Going Home Empty-Handed. I wrote it for hunters who do the basics right and still eat tag soup. It covers the problems that actually cost you dear. Turning a nocturnal camera buck into a daylight shot. Figuring out why a good stand went dead. Hunting around other hunters' pressure, and shot placement and recovery, so the meat we are talking about today makes it home clean. Plain talk from 44 seasons, no gear ads, no $400 gadgets. It is $17 right now, marked down from $47. That is less than 1 wasted tank of gas to the lease. Now go ahead and grab your phone and open up your camera, the same one you used to take pictures. Point it at that square code on your screen and hold it steady for a second. A little link will pop up, give it a tap, and it will take you straight to the book. And if you are watching on your phone right now, the link is waiting for you right down below in the description. Take your time, there is no rush at all. I'll wait right here. All right, friend, back to work. Let's get acquainted with this worm because once you understand how it operates, everything else today falls right into place. Trichinella is a round worm, small enough that a dozen of them could hide on the head of a pin. It operates simple. An animal eats infected meat. The worms wake up in the stomach and raise their families, and the young ones travel out into the muscles. There, each one curls up inside a little capsule of its own making and goes to sleep. It can wait like that for years. It does not spoil the meat, it does not change the smell, and it does not change the taste. There is nothing to see and nothing to sniff, and that is the whole problem. A roast can look perfect on the cutting board and be carrying thousands of them. Eat that roast undercooked, and those sleepers wake up in you. The first few days feel like a stomach bug, and plenty of folks shrug it off. Then a week or two later comes the part nobody forgets. Fever, muscle aches like you fell out of the stand, and a face so swollen your own dog gives you a funny look. Most folks pull through with treatment, but a bad case can reach the heart muscle, and that is when a bellyache turns into a hospital stay measured in weeks. And it only takes one animal. A man can eat wild meat his whole life, get careless with one roast, and learn every bit of this the hard way. So the first question that matters is which animals carry it. And this is the part hunters get exactly backwards. This worm travels one way only, by being eaten. That means it lives in animals that eat other animals. Your whitetail eats browse, acorns, and the neighbor's soybeans. So there is no road for this worm into a healthy deer. That is why in 44 seasons I have never once worried about the venison in my freezer. And you do not need to either. Cook your backstraps the way you like them. The danger lives with the meat eaters and the scavengers. Black bear stands at the top of the list in this country, far and away. Most American cases in the last 20 years trace straight back to bear meat. Wild hog comes next, and if you hunt Texas or the South, the hog is your bear. After those come cougar, coyote, and the other meat eaters, and way up in the far north, walrus and seal for the folks who live off them. And for my fishing friends eyeballing the walleye in the live well, rest easy. This particular worm does not do fish. Cook your fish the way you always have and enjoy every bite. The old-timers understood all of this without ever seeing a microscope, by the way. The same grandpas who ate raccoon in hard times cooked that meat until it fell apart. Gravy soft, no pink discussion required. They did not know the worm's name. They knew what happened to families that got careless with a meat eater. That knowledge faded out right around the time store pork got clean and the gear catalogs were never going to bring it back. There is no product to sell in a rule your grandfather gave you for free. Which brings us to the pink itself. Because the first rule bear meat breaks is the one your dad swore by. Color is not a thermometer. The pink in meat comes from a pigment, the same one that makes a walleye fillet white and a mallard breast dark. And it shifts for a dozen reasons that have nothing to do with how hot the meat got. The age of the animal changes it. A marinade changes it. Smoke changes it. Bear meat runs so dark to begin with that judging pink in it is like reading a newspaper in the duck blind at midnight. A bear roast can turn brown clean through at a temperature this worm sleeps straight through. A smoked one can hold a rosy ring long after it is safe. The color lies in both directions, friend. And if you want to know what that lie costs, let me tell you about a family reunion out in South Dakota in the summer of 2022. One of the family had taken a black bear up in Canada, and the meat went into the freezer for a month and a half, the way most of us were taught, to make it safe. For the reunion, they thawed it out and grilled it on kebabs with the vegetables riding the same skewers. Bear meat being as dark as it is, nobody could tell rare from done, and the first platter went out rare. 6 of that family got sick. 3 of them ended up in the hospital. And here is the detail that ought to stop you cold. A couple of the sick ones never ate one bite of that bear. They only ate the vegetables that cooked beside it. The doctors found the worm, the government wrote the whole case up, and that frozen, brown, good-looking bear meat did exactly what the old rules promised it never could. I tell that story with no joy in it, because that family did half of everything right. They trusted two rules that were built in the grocery store world: the pink rule and the freezer rule, and the woods play by different rules. Keep that freezer detail in your back pocket too. That is the promise from the top of this video, and we are nearly there. First, the fix for the pink, and it costs less than a box of shells. A number: 160 degrees Fahrenheit. That is 160 in the thickest part of the meat. Here is the whole method, plain and slow. Buy yourself an instant read meat thermometer. A good one runs about $15 at the hardware store. The $70 one does the same job, and Dad always said the deer don't care what you spent. Neither does this worm. When bear or hog meat looks done, slide the probe into the thickest part of the piece. Keep the tip away from bone. Let the number settle. If it reads 160 or better, you eat. If it reads 159, it goes back on the heat. No exceptions for hungry and no exceptions for company waiting on the porch. Check every piece, not just the biggest one. Kebab cubes get poked one by one because the small pieces lie the worst. Clear juices prove nothing either. That old test came out of the same shoebox as the pink rule. And two more habits straight out of that reunion story. Raw bear and raw hog get their own cutting board, and the knife and tongs get a hot soapy wash before they touch anything else. Nothing rides the same skewer or sits in the same drippings as undercooked wild meat, vegetables included. Now let me gather that up for you. The thermometer goes in the thickest part. The number to beat is 160 degrees Fahrenheit. Every piece gets checked, and the raw meat gets its own board, tongs, and skewers. Do that, and you can serve bear or hog proud, because done right, it is some of the finest eating that ever came out of the woods, and I will stand on that. Before we open that freezer, let me knock down the other shortcuts, because every one of them has put somebody in a hospital bed. Smoking does not kill this worm. Low and slow flavor smoke never pushes the center of the meat past 160 unless you finish it there on purpose, with the probe to prove it. Jerky does not kill it. A dehydrator dries meat, it does not cook it, so bear or hog headed for the jerky racks gets heated to 160 first, every single time. Salt and curing do not kill it. Salt handles germs, but this is an animal inside a shell, and it has been shrugging off salt since before your great-grandfather hung his first ham. And the microwave cooks so uneven, it can boil the edges of a roast around a raw middle. Heat is the only thing this worm respects. Enough heat, all the way through, proven with a probe. Which brings us at last to the part I promised you at the very start. The freezer. The freezer trick is real, and that is exactly what makes it dangerous. Here is where it came from. There is more than one kind of trichinella, and the kind that lived in farm hogs is a warm country worm. A farm hog never froze, so its worm never had to survive freezing, and it cannot. Hold store pork around 0 degrees Fahrenheit for 3 or 4 weeks, and that worm dies. The old butchers knew it, the pork industry proved it, and for grocery store pork, the freezer rule truly worked. But the worm in bear meat is a different member of the same family, the northern one. It was raised in country where every carcass that hits the ground in November freezes solid until April. Think about what that means. For thousands and thousands of winters, any worm up there that could not survive freezing died in the ice, and the ones that could survive it carried on. What lives in the North Country today is a worm built out of winters. Scientists have taken meat from northern bears, kept it frozen for months, some tests over a year, thawed it out, and watched those worms wake right up. That reunion bear sat in a freezer for a month and a half, and it did not lose a step. To that critter, your chest freezer at 0 degrees is just one more November, and its family has been waiting out Novembers since before there was a Wisconsin. So write this over the freezer door. Freezing store pork can clean it. Freezing bear meat only keeps it. The freezer is a pantry, never a kill step, and the thermometer is the only gate this worm cannot get through. That is why the old rule fails. That is why a careful family got sick off meat they froze for 6 weeks. And that is why the pink can lie straight to an honest man's eyes. The Woods never signed the grocery store's rules. And that right there is the kind of knowledge Dad and the old-timers handed me for free. So I put it on paper before it dies with the men who taught me. Donna's Whitetail Bible holds 101 field-tested tricks just like it. From 44 seasons in these woods, written for hunters who do the basics right and still ride home quiet. It is $17 today, marked down from $47. That is less than 1 tank of gas to the lease for the stuff the gear ads will never teach you. Now go ahead and grab your phone and open up your camera, the same one you use to take pictures. Point it at that square code on your screen and hold it steady for a second. A little link will pop up, give it a tap, and it will take you straight to the book. And if you are watching on your phone right now, the link is waiting for you right down below in the description. Take your time, there is no rush at all. I'll wait right here. So keep it plain, friend. Venison however you like it. Bear and hog to 160 on a probe, and the freezer keeps meat. It does not clean it. Did your dad or your grandpa have a deer camp rule of his own? Share it below. Those are exactly the ones worth keeping. I read every single one. Next time, I am going to show you why your trail camera has been lying to you about that big buck all summer, and the one setting change almost nobody makes that finally tells you the truth about when he walks. Keep your wind right and your coffee hot, and I'll see you in the woods.